Hello everybody, it's Slippery Jack, and today I'm going to be talking about the new Epica album, O'Mega. Alright, so it's time to talk about metal. Metal isn't really something that gets talked about a lot on this channel. I mean, I reviewed one metal album a couple years ago, that being Tool's Fear Inoculum, but besides that, and also it being mentioned a few times, and a couple metal albums getting on my top 10 lists for the end of the year, that it hasn't really been really a big genre on this channel, and that is because my nostalgia for it is kind of inconsistent. It took me a long time to really understand it, but yeah, I understand it now, and there are lots of great metal bands that I listen to. So anyways, Epica are a Dutch symphonic metal band who are widely considered to be the best in that genre, and once again, my nostalgia for these guys is pretty inconsistent. That is because I already had another symphonic metal band in my life, that being Nightwish, and because of that, I never really saw a reason to check out any other bands like that, and that's also because I feel like with a lot of metal, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, not to say that every metal band sounds the same. Like, as I dug into Epica, like, I discovered that they are certainly not Nightwish. They are definitely their own animal, but I did struggle a little bit with this band. There was I went and I listened to about half of Designer Universe, and then about half of this album, and I mean, those albums are both freaking long, so, and they were doing nothing for me, so I just kind of abandoned ship early. Fast forward to now, I've listened to them both in full many times, and I'm already gonna say it, this is a great album. Designer Universe is also great. That might be my favorite by them, though I like all their albums about the same, and once again, I think the whole Nightwish thing kind of caused me to struggle, because when I went into this band, I was expecting Nightwish, but that was not what I got. What I got here was I noticed there's some more death metal influence. They've got the death growls, and that wasn't what turned me off. I really like how there are growls on here. That's something I was kind of missing with Nightwish. And there's also surprising amount of similarities to Evanescence. And you know what, had I come from that band, I might have been able to understand this more. And but don't, like, just because you're into Evanescence, don't think that means you're gonna get into this band right away. You need to understand, like, those symphonic elements. Like, Epica is very dramatic. They've like I said, they've got lots of death metal influence, but if you like all that, then you're gonna love them. So anyways, let's talk about O'Mega now. I noticed that so far this album has been received very positively by fans. I've heard many fans going as far as saying it is one of their best yet. Now, like I said before, this album did nothing for me on first listen. I think it's because this isn't anything that I haven't heard before. Don't get me wrong, this album does have a distinctive sound, and it stands out in their discography, but I wouldn't go as far as calling it a turning point in this genre. There are a few aspects of this album that really set it apart from their other stuff. The first thing I really noticed is how riffy this album is in comparison to their other works. We saw them kind of going this direction in their previous album, The Holographic Principle, but I'd say O'Mega is definitely more riffy than that one. It's when I say riffy, I mean these riffs are very memorable. It seems to be more focused on creating memorable riffs, and I'd say The Holographic Principle was still heavier, but not as riffy, if you kind of know what I mean. This album is a lot more diverse than that album as well. Not saying that there was any lack of diversity on Holographic Principle. And by the way, I think that album was really good. But throughout that album, it was just hitting you with like heavy moment after heavy moment. There weren't really very many breaks that you got. It was just boom, 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 boom. And yeah, on this, on O'Mega, there's no shortage of breaks. Some songs start differently than others. You get songs like Code of Life, which has this weird Arabic influenced intro, or songs like The Abyss of Time or Seal of Solomon, which get right into the meat of the song right away. And there's also a noticeable amount of film soundtrack influence on here, like more than previous albums. I mean, they're a symphonic metal band, so of course that's gonna be here, but like more so on here than ever before. If I could describe this album with one word, it would be big. Everything about this album is huge. The production makes the album feel very vast. It's definitely their biggest feeling yet. It's long, about 70 minutes long, and you know that's not really new for them. Like all their albums are super long, and there's also this feeling that I get from this album. It feels very different. There's, I mean, it feels though it feels like brighter. It feels brighter than their other albums, but it also there's this feeling of pain that I'm getting throughout it, almost like a pain as in like sadness, but there isn't really anything sad on this album either, so I don't really know how else to describe it, but it's really interesting. If I have one issue with this album, it is with its vocals, and not all the vocals though. Mark Jansen sounds great on this album. In fact, I'd say he is at his best on this LP. No, my problem is Simone Simon's vocals. She, I mean, I don't know if it's because she's singing in the same range, but her vocals get a little grating sometimes, and on other albums I never had that problem. In fact, I really enjoyed hearing her sing on the other albums, but this one, I don't know, there's just something about it that's just off-putting. I can't really put my finger on it. Yeah, it's probably because she's staying in the same vocal range throughout the entire album. And that's enough of that. Let's get into the individual tracks. Alpha Anteludium is a straight symphonic track that serves as an intro to the album. You've got like that Celtic instrumentation going on here, and it works great as an opener, though I found it quite forgettable. Abyss of Time is the first real track on the album, and though I enjoy it, I'm kind of on the fence about whether I love it. It's got some awesome moments. I love those trade-offs between Mark and Simone, and the riffs on the bridge are spot on. But I feel like the chorus kind of ruins the song for me. The song has all the elements of an awesome power metal song, but that pre-chorus, the "Be without your fears for 1,000 years," I don't know. Just no. I don't know. Personally, I've never been a fan of female-fronted power metal. I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone, but it just doesn't work to me. Like, even early Nightwish, when they had those power metal elements going on, I couldn't get it. And, I don't know. I mean, it's not... Yeah, this pre-chorus isn't horrible, but it sounds like a Disney princess song. Alright, fine, maybe that is a little harsh. I mean, yeah, it's not a bad pre-chorus, but it's just a little off-putting to me. The chorus kind of saves it a little bit on the chorus. It's better, but not much. It just gets grating as the song goes on. I think the song is a little too long for its own good. The deluxe version of this album, though, there's a second disc called O'Mega Acoustic, which is pretty self-explanatory, and it has a folk version of this song, and while it isn't quite as fun or exciting as the original, I liked its chorus a lot more. Definitely go check out O'Mega Acoustic, by the way. There's some really interesting stuff on there that I never saw coming out of this band. Anyway, the Skeleton Key has a much darker sound. It is reminiscent of later Nightwish. I love the contrast between the softer verses accompanied by some piano and some heavy riffs every now and then the chorus, which is really big and it pops out at you. And it got my attention on first listen when this album was doing nothing for me. This song did a lot immediately. And yeah, probably because of its similarity to Nightwish, it really helped me get into it. And yeah, just great stuff. Seal of Solomon is just epic. It's got some Arabian influence, some sitars in there that are kind of behind those big meaty guitars. Those choirs sound awesome. They are just super epic. I really like the part where the guitar is like, when it like stops and the guitar is panned from one ear to another. It's like do 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 do. And Simone isn't really a very big part of this song. She only really leads the bridge, which is also freaking awesome. A standout track to be sure. Gaia seems to be going for something similar to Seal of Solomon, but a little more accessible, and after that song, it feels a little underwhelming at first. But by the time you get into the first chorus, you are hooked by some more great riffs and melodies. Code of Life, like I said before, has some Arabian influence, especially at the beginning, and throughout there's lots of Arabian-style vocals and some sitar in there again. It's a very riffy, very metal-y kind of track. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think Freedom, The Wolves Within is, in my opinion, one of the weaker moments, but man, it is still really dang good. The reason for this is probably because it's just not as, it doesn't sound as interesting as the other tracks. It's not the most fun to listen to, but it really saves itself in the chorus, which is easily one of the catchiest moments of this entire album. Just great chorus. Kingdom of Heaven Part 3 is the end of the Kingdom of Heaven trilogy, and on this one it gets very progressive. It starts out sounding like a kind of like black metal, and then some big chuggy riffs come in with Simone's vocals, and the chorus on here is really epic. It's packed with emotion. I think the best part of this song is the part around 7 minutes when Mark takes over the lead vocals till the end of the song. Until Simone takes the lead back. And yeah, that's something I should probably bring up about this album. Like all those moments where Mark is leading are probably the best moments of this album. And yeah, just anyway, at 7 minutes it just goes all out prog. You've got some great growls, you've got some great riffs. It's just awesome. Great orchestrations. Just everything about it is just great. And yeah, it's just very epic track. Rivers is a slow ballad that is mainly used to contrast the chaos of the previous track, and it's really nice. I kind of felt like it wasn't really as good as some of their other power ballads before, but it wasn't, but it's been growing on me. It's a really beautiful track. It's yeah, that's one of the perfect examples of like how this album differs from the Holographic Principle. You don't really get as many slow moments like this. And then we're back into the metal with Synergize, Manic Manifest, which is awesome. It's a very busy track. There's lots happening on here. There are some buzzing electronics right before the chorus, which sound really cool. The song has pretty much everything in it that makes this album great. The awesome growls, the epic orchestration, and it showcases both the melodic and the aggressive sides of this album. It's just all around brilliant. Twilight Reverie, Hypnagogic State reminds me a little bit of Universal Death Squad, but done in a style more suited for this album. I wish it could have been a little more inventive, but man, that hook never gets old, and all of its awesome riffs, especially in the bridge. Those riffs are just awesome. And then the album ends with Ωmega Sovereign of the Sun Spheres, which is another epic progressive track. And you could compare this to the title track of Opeth's Black Water Park, which is just a strong, punchy track that's all about hitting the album home. And wow, both of these just so happen to be the title tracks of their album, so that's interesting. Oh yeah, not to mention that there is also quite a lot of Opeth influence on this track itself. How'd that happen? So anyways, this song starts with an awesome brass section, which is easily one of the best on this album. And then it gets right, after that, just gets right into the meat of it with some dark yet almost spacey kind of riffs that sound really cool. And the chorus, I didn't really care for the chorus at first, but it really sticks with you. The chorus is really awesome, and at around 3.5 minutes, this track takes a very heavy turn. You've got like you got these riffs that like have an almost a jangle to them. Yes, jangle and metal. But yeah, they sound really cool. They're very melodic. And then it gets even heavier, like just with perhaps the most aggressive moment of the entire album, with the just sounds so awesome. And that is with these melodic metal bands, I always love it when they go aggressive and riffy, because it's a nice contrast and they always do it so well. And yeah, it's just a great slap right across the face. And yeah, then after that, it goes back into like how the song began. It almost like, it's kind of weird. Like that's the middle section of the song, and then it kind of progresses to that section, and it's almost like a backwards progression to the end of the song. Except you've got like that brass section again. That was really cool, but with some guitar in it, which sounds so good. And holy crap, that ending is just beautiful. With Simone's vocals and the choirs, I don't know why, but it hits me really hard emotionally, like unlike a lot of tracks can. And I get chills every time. So, yeah, that's it. So overall, I think this album is pretty great. There are many great moments on it. It is by no means a turning point for symphonic metal, but it shows that this genre is alive and well, and that it can stay interesting. That there's lots of great albums to come. And by the way, for those of you who are concerned about the album's title, that it might mean that Epica is pulling the plug, don't be. Simone Simon said that they have no plans of breaking up. They still have lots of great music to put out, and the title is simply just because a lot of the songs on here, a lot of the lyrics on here were influenced by the O'Mega point. But anyways, I love the vastness of this album and how easily digestible it was. It's definitely a lot more digestible and easy to get into than their other albums. It's easier to listen throughout its entirety, even though it is super long, and there's no boring moments. It's definitely, and it's I agree with the majority of the fans. It is definitely one of their best works. I'm overall feeling an 85 out of 100. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to support this channel. Let me know about some cool new releases that I missed that I can possibly review. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!